Imagine stepping into an old, dimly lit hotel elevator. You frantically press button after button as if something unseen is chasing you. The doors refuse to close. You shrink into the corner, peeking out into the empty hallway. Your movements at first almost playful, but then suddenly desperate. Then you vanish. Weeks later, your body is found in a place no one should have been able to reach, floating inside a rooftop water tank. This isn't a scene from a horror film. This is the true story of Elisa Lam, a young woman who mysteriously disappeared at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles. What could have caused someone to act that way? And how did she end up alone in the darkness of that impossible place? Picture the heart of downtown Los Angeles, where Hollywood's bright lights fade into the shadows of Skid Row. The air is thick with exhaust and decay, distant sirens and the whispers of the forgotten. In the middle of this urban wasteland stands the Cecil Hotel, a towering relic that feels like an ancient beast. Built in 1924, it was once elegant, its marble lobby gleaming under chandeliers, welcoming tourists and businessmen. But after the Great Depression, its decline began. By the 1940s, it had become a refuge for the desperate, transients, addicts, people clinging to the edge of society. The walls seemed to soak up the despair. Suicides became so frequent that locals started calling it the Suicide Hotel. Imagine the creaking floors, flickering lights in narrow hallways, the faint drip of water from leaking pipes echoing in the silence of the night. This wasn't just a place to stay, it was a maze of lost souls. Over the decades, the Cecil's dark reputation only grew. In the 1960s, a beloved resident known as Pigeon Goldie was raped and murdered in her room, stabbed and beaten, her case still unsolved to this day. Then came the serial killers. In the 1980s, Richard Ramirez, the infamous Night Stalker, stayed here for a time. He'd dump his blood-soaked clothes in the dumpster out back after his nighttime killings. The screams of his victims seemed to linger in the hotel's silence. A few years later, in 1991, Austrian serial killer Jack Unterweger checked in, using the Cecil as his base while strangling prostitutes in the surrounding area. The hotel wasn't merely a witness to history, it was soaked in blood, as if its very foundation attracted tragedy. In the 2000s, part of it was rebranded as Stay on Main for backpackers, but the change was superficial. Same elevators, same rooftop, same bone-chilling atmosphere. Into this foreboding place stepped Elisa Lam, a 21-year-old Canadian student from Vancouver. The daughter of Hong Kong immigrants who ran a restaurant, Elisa was bright, curious, and deeply introspective. Enrolled at the University of British Columbia, though not registered for classes at the start of 2013, she struggled with bipolar disorder and depression. Missing her medications could sometimes trigger hallucinations. Drugs like Wellbutrin, Lamictal, Seroquel, and Effexor. But Elisa wasn't defined by her illness. She chronicled her life on blogs, first Ether Fields on Blogspot, later Nouvelle Nouveau on Tumblr, sharing her love of fashion, literature, and her inner turmoil, quoting authors like Chuck Palahniuk about feeling lost in a superficial world. Imagine her excitement as she set off alone on her West Coast tour, traveling by Amtrak and bus, visiting the San Diego Zoo, posting photos online. She called her parents every single day. She was outgoing, friendly, the kind of person who'd strike up conversations with strangers in bookstores. But beneath that, there was a vulnerability, a storm that could spiral out of control. To anyone passing her in the lobby, she might have seemed like just another traveler, unaware that the Cecil's shadows were waiting to swallow her. It all began on January 26, 2013, when Elisa arrived in Los Angeles from San Diego. The city was alive, but she chose the Cecil, cheap, central, even if its reputation might have made others hesitate. She checked into a shared hostel room on the 5th floor of the Stay on Main section. The first couple of days seemed normal. She went out exploring, even attended a live taping of the Conan O'Brien show, though her excitement got her escorted out for being disruptive. Back at the hotel, her roommates started noticing strange behavior. Elisa left notes on their beds saying "go home" or "go away." She'd lock the door and demand a password to enter. Complaints came in, and just 2 days later, on January 28th, staff moved her to a private room. Imagine the silence of that new room, the distant hum of the city outside, Elisa sitting alone. Her daily calls home continued. The days passed. January 31st, the day she was supposed to check out and head to Santa Cruz, she visited the last bookstore nearby. The manager, Katie Orphan, remembered her clearly, outgoing, lively, talking about gifts for her family. Everything seemed fine. That was her last confirmed sighting outside the hotel. Staff reported seeing her alone that day, but no one could say exactly when or where.
And then there's the elevator footage. The video that has haunted millions. Captured on a security camera, believed to be from January 31. Elisa enters the elevator. Red hoodie, black shorts, sandals. She presses multiple buttons, one after another. The doors won't close. She steps out, peers cautiously into the hallway, head darting left and right, as if searching for someone or hiding from something. She steps back in, hides in the corner, pressing herself against the wall. The doors still stay open. She waves her hands in strange, fluid motions, almost as if speaking to an invisible presence. She steps out again, looks around, comes back to press more buttons. Finally, she leaves for good, disappearing down the hall. The doors close slowly. The footage ends. But what happened next defies explanation. Elisa never checked out. Her belongings remained in her room untouched. When February 1 arrived and her parents hadn't heard from her, breaking her daily routine, they panicked. They contacted the LAPD and soon flew to Los Angeles. Imagine their desperation, handing out flyers with Elisa's smiling face in an unfamiliar city. Police responded quickly. They searched her room, medications, clothes, everything was there, no signs of foul play. Canine units traced her scent through the building, but lost it near a window by the fire escape. The roof was checked. The dogs found nothing. Without probable cause, they couldn't search every guest room. Days turned to weeks. On February 6th, flyers were distributed more widely. Skid Row's streets remained indifferent to another lost soul. As pressure mounted, on February 13th or 14th, police released the elevator footage to the public, hoping to jog memories. Instead, it exploded across the internet. Guests began complaining, low water pressure,
strange color, bad taste and smell. On February 19th, maintenance worker Santiago Lopez climbed to the roof to check the 4 water tanks. One tank's lid was open. He peered inside. Flat, chilling delivery. Elisa was floating face down. Her clothes lay at the bottom of the tank. How did she get there? The tanks were 8 feet tall, mounted on pipes. The roof door was supposed to have an alarm, but either disabled or not working. Climbing from the fire escape to the tanks was difficult, and the lid was heavy. To recover the body, they had to cut the tank open. The autopsy report was released in June. Cause of death: accidental drowning. No trauma on the body, no evidence of sexual assault. Toxicology showed trace alcohol and prescription drugs, consistent with her bipolar treatment. No foul play, the coroner ruled. But questions remain. Theories spread quickly. Many point to a manic episode, a psychotic break caused by bipolar disorder, hallucinations. In the elevator, she seemed to be talking to someone, hiding from someone. She may have gone to the roof, stripped, and climbed into the tank. Some bipolar patients exhibit such behavior. But how did she bypass the alarm? How did she open the heavy lid alone? Others insist on foul play. Perhaps someone followed her, drugged her, or hid the body in the tank. One eerie coincidence: her Tumblr was set to queue posts, continuing to upload images even after her death. Some push supernatural theories, the Cecil's dark history, ghosts, even the strange name match with a TB test kit called Lam Elisa. But none of it is proven. To this day, some questions remain unanswered. Who or what was she talking to in the elevator? Why did the dogs lose her scent at the window instead of the roof? How did a small young woman climb into that tank alone and leave the lid off? Police call it an accident, but many investigators and online sleuths still believe something is being hidden. Years later, new documentaries and videos keep appearing, yet no new evidence has emerged. Even in 2025, the theories live on, though the official ruling remains unchanged. The shadows of the Cecil Hotel seem to claim Elisa forever. What do you think really happened? Let me know in the comments below. And if these stories keep you up at night, subscribe for more.